Hey, Homeworthy. I'm Breanna.
And I'm Jamal.
Welcome to our Brooklyn apartment. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
I'm Breanna.
And I'm Jamal.
And we are in our DUMBO Brooklyn apartment. So we moved to New York February 2020, and it was during the pandemic, and it was so chaotic, but our lease was up, and during the 3 weeks I had to spend in New York roaming around before everything shut down, I remembered that there's this beautiful neighborhood of DUMBO, Brooklyn that I visited. So I was super excited to look for apartments in this area specifically. We found this gym on Street Easy, and I just fell in love with it. I knew we had to see it, and it was the first day that we toured anything for that search, and that was it. Like, I didn't have to continue on.
So for the non-New Yorkers, DUMBO stands for Down Under the Manhattan Bridge Overpass. And where our apartment is located is actually in the middle of DUMBO, right in between the Manhattan Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge. And so we have really good views right around the corner of all lower Manhattan. And the neighborhood itself it started off really local. There's been some more corporates that come in, such as Starbucks and Shake Shack. But really it's been a real local community in terms of kind of highlighting local cuisine, local artisans, local artists. In the summer, there's a DUMBO flea market every Saturday and Sunday that kind of just has more local artists showcasing their talents. And so it's a really homey feel. During the week and during the weekend, it does get very touristy, but with return back to office there, it's not too loud anymore in terms of working from that aspect. And so it's really a family-friendly neighborhood. Things do close down a little early, so it's not the most nightlife going out neighborhood, even though DUMBO House is right next door. It's been a great experience, very safe neighborhood, and everything is really here to offer up.
So this neighborhood also really has an industrial past. A lot of these apartments are like abandoned warehouses that were renovated and became apartments. So our apartment used to be, I think, a cardboard factory, a pepper factory. It's one of the oldest buildings on this street. I think it was built in, 1835. So it's really interesting seeing how all of these, like this neighborhood has just changed so much from this very industrial warehouse area to like something very, very beautiful, yeah. So this is our living room. I love this giant exposed beam here, and I feel like it really makes the space. One of my favorite parts about the living room is this giant concrete coffee table here. We found this on, I think, OfferUp, like for a steal.
Yes.
Jamal found it for me. I've been looking for one for the longest time.
It's massively heavy, but we were able to find it, and I think we paid like $300 for it on a table that's usually at least $1,000 or something like that. So yeah, it's good to find some good deals within the city itself there as well.
Love a deal. And then I also really like the art in the living room. I feel like it really makes the space. I just bought 2 large art pieces from, I think, Decenio, and this brown like perfectly matches the brown of the beam, and it's just really pleasing to me. So I really do love that.
Another fun fact too about the beams for anybody who has cats. So these are the original wood beams from the building from 1835. They're still very structural. The apartment itself, or the building itself, had went through a few different commercial and residential kind of eras essentially. And so this used to actually be, before they bricked it up, this was like a big window here. This is like the oldest building on the street. So it used to have unobstructed views of the East River and the Brooklyn Bridge. But anyways, back to the beam. So we had to, our cats would like to scratch the beam. So we were able to train them with some paper, or the sticky paper, to not really scratch it. I thought it was just a fun fact, wanted to throw in there. So we love the beams though, we love the beams.
And then for the rest of the living room, we try to like create a focal point with the TV, frame the TV in a fun way. So we have these 2 shelves here. They're ladder shelves, and This is a DIY actually, because when we first bought these shelves, I got them off the Facebook Marketplace as well for a steal. And they were different color. Like they were this dark brown color and just would have been way too dark for this space, I thought. So we ended up painting the whole rim of the shelves black and then putting wood contact paper on top. So this isn't real wood on top. It's like an illusion. It's contact paper. So yeah, and we have them on both sides of the TV here to kind of frame the area, which is really nice. And I just decorated it with a few of my favorite books, a few of my favorite vases, and then over here we have this bar console, bar area, another Facebook Marketplace steal, but I believe it's originally from West Elm. And we have these colored wine glasses and just kind of bringing in some colored, fun color into the area. A record player, you know, some lighting.
The history about this corner, went through maybe 4 or 5 different changes from how Breanna has felt. I had always wanted like a nice bar area that, you know, you can come home if you want to like just grab a quick glass of wine or grab a quick cocktail. You can come over here and make one for yourself. But that was like my initial idea, and then she shut it down, and so it was another additional sitting area.
Yeah.
And then she shut that down, and then it was more storage, and she shut that down again, and then now we were able to not shut it down, but adapt and change to, you know, finding new pieces and curating new ideas within the house itself. And so the one thing that did remain constant was this mirror. This is just some mirror from IKEA that we got when we first moved in, and I thought it just opened up the space because it's just a closed off space here, especially with the beam being right here, so it kind of just made the room feel larger when you're sitting at the couch or on the chair right there by the window itself. And then we just, you know, we got this record player as a wedding gift, have some different cookbooks there, a few different decanters for cocktails or for some wine. And so it's just been a really nice piece that just fits in with the aesthetic of the house really well without sticking out too much, so it just blends in very well.
Yeah, like my first worry when he said bar area, I was like, oh no, it's gonna feel like a bachelor pad. How do I make a chic bar area? So it took some time, but I think we kind of figured it out. I feel like we have a nice balance of both the masculine energy, but also keeping it feminine in a way.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Maximize cord management that we could here as well. So like we painted these black cord strips to brown just to kind of match the brick every now and then, just so we didn't have too many things that were sticking out. This cubby here is actually where all of our internet equipment is at and everything there as well. So you would just think it blends in pretty well to the space that Breanna helped design there as well. But this really was just making sure the house stayed functional, as we talked about in the intro, but making sure that it was also beautiful at the same time and remaining that way there as well. And so this TV is also was massively heavy to put up there, but it's once you drill into the brick wall, it's like a one-time thing, so it's like a semi-permanent anchor, so it'll be there until we decide to move out. This wall right here is actually the only exposed brick wall that we have, and this is the original brick that they laid by hand, and they actually did a really good job with the seams and everything like that there as well. And each apartment, there's 3 apartments in the unit, each has this similar wall but all different shapes and sizes. And so the wall that office and the dining room face was also an exposed brick wall, but for whatever reason, from a design purpose, they decided to cover it up. We truly discovered that the first time I was drilling into it, and I actually ran into the brick behind the wall, and I said, wow, what is this blocking my drill from not being able to hang something up? And then we saw the videos and were able to confirm that it was actually exposed at one point. And actually, even more fun fact, there used to be an elevator in this building where the office is as well. So they took that out, and it was more elevator for, you know, transporting the spices up in between the units and the basement here as well. So there was definitely some more residential touches that they added when they renovated the building back in 2003.
For this corner, I wanted to do something cozy, and I really fell in love with this slipper chair. I was looking for slipper chairs because they're kind of low and they just kind of open up the space a bit. So I just really loved having just a black chair in the corner. I don't know. The leather is really nice. And yeah, just bringing in the industrial feel. And then I got this mid-century modern little side table and popped up this little lamp from Amazon here. And there you go. There you have it. The sofa is a modular sofa that we got from Burrow a while ago, and it's held up pretty well over the years because I think it's about maybe 4 years old now. As Jamal mentioned, our sofa coming up the stairs, we had just like a regular, not modular sofa. Couldn't do it. It wouldn't make it. We just had to abandon it on the street the day we moved in. So we needed a modular sofa bad. So yeah, we got this gray sofa, and it came in boxes, which was perfect. And we were just able to open it up in here, opposed to dealing with the chaos of that. And now we can take it all around New York if we need to. The most functional piece that we probably had to buy in here was this sofa, just the fact that it separates like that. And yeah, it's just a neutral gray to really bring a cool tone to this space because we have a lot of these warm tones with the brown. So just trying to keep it neutral and plain. We can always dress it up with some really nice accent pillows that are colorful, as well as different textures with throws and things like that. So that's my little hack.
One additional aspect about the sofa itself, or that Breanna had mentioned, it being modular, and so this part of the sectional, it works for us being on this left-hand side, making an L, that shape, but we can move this to be the middle if we wanted to, or to be on the right side. So wherever we take this couch, for any of our future apartments or our future homes, it should be able to work with any angle because it's the complete modular structure from that aspect.
So also I wanted to talk about this plant up here. You'll see throughout the apartment, we have all of our plants high up like this because our cat Jade is a menace and she will eat them. So we keep all of our plants high up, and having a ceiling plant like this was the perfect solution. And I found this custom concrete planter from Etsy, and it's really tied in this space, this little nook. So I really like it. Now we're moving into our office space. It is very compact, but we have one, which is great. And it has a his and her situation. So I sit on this side when I do my design work, and Jamal sits on that side for his finance stuff. And I mean, Jamal's in the office, like his actual office at his job a lot of the time. So it's kind of just my desk for the most part, but it's nice that we have the versatility and we're able to work on what we need to work on and get stuff done within this desk. So it was a good solution for us because before we had a large desk along this entire wall. So this has definitely changed, and now we have room for a dining table by condensing it into this smaller office. And I have some prints here to kind of bring the eye up and ignore like all this technology. I found these really cool velvet green chairs from Amazon, I believe, that were just perfect double desk chairs and kind of bring in the rest of the space. And then I found this mid-century modern lamp from Facebook Marketplace. And it's a really cool solution because you can just kind of move it around. So that way Jamal has his light and I have my light. And we even named our Alexa bulbs to our name, so that way we can turn them off and do what we need to do. So yeah, it's a cool solution for a little compact office space in our apartment.
Yeah, and just to add more of the functionality, so the desk is a standing desk that does not get utilized, but there is that option there as well. And for anybody wondering, yes, I'm in the office, but Breanna purposely chose that side because she didn't want to have to look at my finance keyboard all the time as well. So that's why I still have the window, even though I'm here maybe once a month, twice a month now. And so it's really so she didn't have to look at the keyboard and look at all my, if you work in finance and you're trading, then you know you have quite the bulky equipment to take home as well. And so it's really been a good space. We definitely shrunk down the footprint of the office, but it works for us. Even when we work together in the house and we're face to face, kind of with the monitor heights and the way the chairs are, we actually don't even really see each other. So it's just like we actually do kind of have our own kind of separation aspect there as well. So it's just it's been a great space. We love it. I wish I could work from home more often now, but it's really Breanna's office space at this point there. I'm just a guest, like I mentioned.
I wanted to touch on this shelf. It's a multifunctional, from both sides, right? Like it separates the space, but say I'm on a Zoom call, perfect background. This is actually from Target, which is, I was looking for a big mid-century modern shelf to separate the space like this for a while. So I was so happy when I stumbled upon it. And I decorated it with a lot of vases. As Jamal mentioned, there's a flea market here in Brooklyn, down the street, and I spend a lot of my money there in the summertime, probably too much, but I love vases, so if I find one I really like, I'll just pick it up. So a lot of these vases and decorative items you see here are from the flea market or just bought online from West Elm, CB2, but I like to find really unique pieces. And then I have a lot of just frames. I try to create some nice personal touches here with portraits of Jamal and I. I think this is from our first engagement shoot in Brooklyn. So just trying to create the same vibe using, you know, personal photos, some art here, and then also the functional piece. So down here, we actually have a lot more storage for our office stuff. So like cords and a lot of my content creation stuff, so SD cards and tripods and everything, I just kind of hide in these cubbies. So that is this shelf, but it's really, I think it's like a really great focal piece. I love shelves because they're just so fun to decorate with the different vases and like art, and there's so much you can do with them. So anytime there's a chance to incorporate a shelf and it makes sense, I try to add one. This is our little dining area, and we created this area because we wanted somewhere to host our friends, but also we wanted somewhere to eat dinner and just be able to chat about each other's day after work. So this is really great. And then also the separation of space, even though there's just a shelf here, but I feel like I'm like not working. Like I'm off work when I'm over here in this dining area, which is really nice. So yeah, I feel like it helped improve like my mental health by just having a place to sit and eat, opposed to just kind of feeling like a nomad in my apartment and figuring out where can I eat right now. So I really liked that, and we got a lot of this stuff. I mean, it just all came together really.
It's an eclectic collection of various furnitures from a lot of different spaces, and so like this we really wanted a table. It's a smaller space, and so we were thinking, how can we fit? We want to have host couple. How can we fit 4 people or 5 essentially in the space without having a whole entire round table of chairs? And so we have the 2, but then we were able to source this bench from Wayfair, I believe. That sits 2 just perfectly fine there as well. We have pillows in the back, and so we're not hitting our heads or our backs on the painting behind us. And so it was really functional that way. Breanna was a big fan of, in a similar theme to the hanging plant in the living room, to hang the light you know, from the ceiling, just to kind of keep it out of our way and make the focal point about it. We actually probably spend when we're home together a lot of our time, you know, at this table, just connecting, eating, just kind of catching up. More of a traditional, just having a few, you know, 30 minutes to an hour, just talking about our day, you know, catching up on life that we have here as well. And so it's been a great space. This table, where did we get the table from?
I think the table's from Homeworthy. Yeah, and I found these 2 chairs from Wayfair that have the brown leather base, which really helped bring in the rest of the space and the browns. And then this giant piece behind us, I love it. We actually just recently got it, very recently. It's from Lulu in Georgia, but it really made the space. Like I just really like the way it came out. And then this paper lantern also really brings in that Japan-y feeling that I was going for over here. So I was really intentional about what we wanted to source for this dining area. I made a mood board for the dining area. I made a mood board for the office area. And it's really cool to see everything come to life in person. So that's one of my favorite parts about design. Like you plan it out, and then once it all comes together, it's so satisfying.
And I think just to add for like the functionality flow aspect. So we used to have another art piece here, and it worked really well. It just wasn't as big as this piece here. And so the shade is very big shade for the light. And so it would overpower that art piece essentially. And so having this piece here kind of balanced out the 2 and kind of a yin and yang. And then I feel like it made the wall, since it covers a larger portion of the wall, it makes your eye extend up. And so it makes the ceilings feel larger you know, in a sense, a lot more grand that way. The light does swing because we do have a nice airflow that comes here as well. So
the vent is right there, so
it'll be swinging. It perpetually swings. And so we know if the air is turned off because the light will stop swinging. So that's kind of how we use it, you know, from that aspect. And we just ran a cord. Cord just runs all the way through. Like I said, cord management, just hiding it through. We painted obviously you have the black part, but we painted the command strip the same color as the wall, so it really just blends in until you call it out like we just did. So it really is just keeping it seamless, and it's obviously right next to the kitchen. That's why we did it from here. So when we're serving food or serving drinks, it's a very quick, you know, actually means just 2 feet of space transition. So it does have that open concept part of it there as well, and so it really, actually, in my opinion, it extended the kitchen, and because we have the partition with the shelf, it really made the kitchen feel kind of more cohesiveness and large, while then keeping work over there and life over here.
Before we even moved in, I thought about what I wanted it to feel like in here, and I wanted to honor the industrial like vibe that we have in here. It's very warm and cozy, and I didn't like all of our old furniture from our previous apartment was like modern Scandinavian, like IKEA type vibe. So I wanted to change it up in here, and we kind of incorporated more industrial materials, like this concrete coffee table, or you'll see a lot of wood, rustic materials to honor that. Yeah. And we kind of leaned a bit more towards the mid-century modern as well, and I try to make it like fresh though. Like I try to bring a little organic, modern, Japan-y spin to everything in a way, so it still feels like, I don't know, just not too rustic, but a nice balance. So, yeah.
I think you were trying to blend where rustic can be somewhat over dominant masculinity-wise, in terms of, and then blending in some of your, adding a little more feminine touches to make the space kind of work for both of us, which was great. And 2, just highlighting, you know, we didn't want to cover up the brick wall too much, wanted to really make that a focal point of the apartment itself. Utilizing the stainless steel counters and all the appliances of stainless steel, highlighting that, the beams that span the front, the back of the apartment as well. And so it really was just highlighting the character that was already here, but putting our twist on it and adding some modern touches that really just made it feel home and made it feel really happy to be here and to live here every day. So probably where I spend most of my time, so I am the cook in our relationship. I just love to cook. It's me coming from a finance, more business background. Cooking is kind of how I express my creativity on a daily basis. So actually, I enjoy cooking. It's not really a chore for me itself, but the kitchen does get a lot of time because we have this pretty big island here. So, you know, when we have friends come over, it's a very good entertaining space.
Yeah, it's massive.
When you're cooking, your back is a little turned, but it's just a very quick turn. They blended in when they designed the apartment, they blended in all the stainless steel appliances, and so we kind of just added a toaster oven here and there. More recently, we added this peel and stick green backsplash, which was kind of just more Breanna adding in more of those organic tones to kind of help adapt the space and not be so industrial within it. And so, because I also think it blends in well with the cabinets, which we learned are mahogany that they use. And so that's the same wood they use for the cabinets, the uppers and the lowers is what they use for the doors across the apartment itself as well. So they did a good job keeping the same wood. It took take some time to get used to because there's like this reddish hue hint that's different from all the other browns or variations of browns within the apartment itself. But when you take one look at it and you see, oh, it kind of blends in with the exposed brick and so on and so forth. So that was one of their style touches, you know, that they use. And Breanna really curated this kind of what's it called, coffee bar situation here. She can shed some more details on that.
Yeah, so honestly, when we first moved in here, I thought the kitchen was a great focal point. I actually really like these stainless steel countertops, but the mahogany cabinets, it took me a second to be like, okay, this is what we're working with, you know?
She wanted to peel and stick she went to contact paper the whole kitchen. I shut that one down. And at the time when
we moved in too, I guess it was just more light and airy kitchens were trendy, but now I think we've definitely seen a shift Like people are starting to do the mahogany cabinets again. So it's interesting how like times change, trends change, and I feel like with all the new inspiration, I've been seeing a lot of the mid-century modern kitchens pop back up. So the kitchen's so functional. We actually don't have a lot of counter space on this side, but to make it work, you know, I just kind of created little moments. There's a coffee corner here where we have I have these cute little espresso mugs that we honestly rarely use because they are too small for the espresso to go into.
You got them in London, right? We actually had to carry those back.
I did get them in London, yeah. They were like at a flea market in London and I fell in love with them, but they're gorgeous. So I just kind of use them as a functional piece to hold our little espresso spoons. And what else? There's just a lot of, you know, all of our plates and things. I added a plant. These are actually salt and pepper shakers. So I think they're really cool and sculptural. So just trying to make all of these functional kitchen moments beautiful as well and cohesive with the rest of the apartment.
And the stainless steel makes it very easy for clean and prep. You know, it's just nothing sticks to this at all. You can scrub it down. There's so many cleaners that we use. Actually, we don't use that many cleaners, but so many that you could use to really get it clean really effectively. And so we actually like that aspect because in our older apartment, like some of the quartz and stuff, you might have, you know, it's like porous, so stains can seep through. Where here, it's just all just pure metal and it just wipes right off. And so it makes it really functional. There's times where we want to like paint, we do like arts and crafts in here, that wipes off real quick. We want to make pasta, that wipes off real quick. And so it just really was just keeping the space functional once again, but really this was actually probably one of the more challenging design concepts that we wanted. Because you have like the open shelving, so you want to be creative though where it doesn't look, you know, too cluttered with it there, but still kind of make it look beautiful from that aspect. And then once again, touching on the backsplash, something when we added the backsplash made that whole wall just feel larger for whatever reason. I'm not sure the whole interior design rule behind it, but I don't know if it added depth to it or the mix of the vertical lines of the tile with the horizontalness of it just made it feel grand in our opinion and gave some real character. Also very easy to clean compared to having that just white drywall behind the stove. So it also adds everything. I think in a New York City apartment, I think it's important that I think it should be aesthetic, but it also has to have a function just because space is everything has to compete for space here. I know that's on the wall, but I think everything that's kind of a twofold rule we try to use in the apartment itself.
Yeah, and honestly, this kitchen is probably anytime we host people, a party, I have a couple friends over, we all congregate here because of the island. So it's nice to just, have this space and have this island to host people. We wanted to create some interest here in the kitchen. I know we talked about the functionality, but in general, the gallery wall has brought a lot of visual interest to the kitchen here. We have this print that actually used to be in the dining before we got the larger one. So really like it over here though. It brings in the mahogany and everything that we talked about with this red. So it actually ended up working out. And then we have this print of cats because we are cat people. Pasta, wine. Jamal and I really enjoy making pasta. Like it's one of our favorite things to do, and actually not just making pasta, but going out in New York and eating pasta because we love Italian food. So, and then just a couple like kitchen type prints. Here's a little photo of us in Paris. I thought it was so cute. I printed it at CVS for, I don't know, like $3, maybe less than that, maybe 50 cents. And then just cut it and put it in here. And it's so cute in this little frame. And then we have this piece that's kind of more of like this Scandinavian, like chill type vibe that has the cutouts around, bringing in more of a modern feel. So we're kind of mixing a few things. Got this mirror from the flea market, love Brooklyn Flea. And we have this custom shelf I bought from Etsy up top. And it is wood, and it just kind of fits perfectly up here because I knew I just kind of wanted, like I said, to bring more visual interest, make the space feel larger. And we just kind of have a few books up there and like little faux plants and stuff like that to make the space feel larger. I think Usually I start off with a mood board before I do anything. Like I plan out the space and what I would like it to look like in some type of way. And then, because you know, I'm a designer by nature, I'll show it to Jamal. Like I'll show the mood board to Jamal, and then we'll kind of go back and forth about what pieces we like and what we don't like and figure it out. But yeah, it's striking a balance for sure. I would say that since we moved in together, my style has changed a lot. I used to be definitely more on the feminine like side fully, like I'd have pink like throws everywhere and everything, but now I would say we kind of strike like a neutral tone, a neutral balance here. So I bring in a lot of the browns and the grays and like really cool sculptural pieces. Like I really love vases and things like that kind of, I don't know, make it funky in a way that still is fun.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think prior to us moving together, I had the typical bachelor pop of color, red piece of art that would just be out there that I still love, but it didn't necessarily work as a space for us together. And I think where I've helped with Breanna in the design process, for me, is really just about flow and how it looks to the eye. So if something is everything, you know, we have shorter ceilings in this apartment, so kind of how can we make things elongate and make the apartment feel a little bit bigger from bottom to top. And so I kind of have those, I guess it's kind of a little more mathematical, and I have those type of, not calculations, but just those aspects that I want to bring in, because Breanna is more of designing for the aesthetics, and I want to make sure that it's
functional.
That's functional, that it elongates, it makes the apartment, give the illusion of it looking larger than it really was, and hopefully that's shown on the video.
This is our bedroom. I would say our bedroom is definitely a cozy and minimal space in comparison to the rest of the apartment, but we try to bring in all the warm, cozy vibes. And yeah, so where should I even start? Let's start here on this side. So I needed somewhere to do my makeup. And we have this vanity over here. This is kind of like my makeshift vanity. We have an LED light under, and it provides the lighting. I got this little mirror from IKEA, which is kind of the perfect size. And I sit here and usually do my makeup like, you know, daily. And all my makeup is under here. So very functional, but also beautiful, like we've been talking about. And I found this chair on Facebook Marketplace maybe like 3-4 years ago at this point, and it's one of my favorite Facebook Marketplace finds because it's like it is an original, I forgot what it's the brand, France and Son or something. Either way, it's an $800 chair, and I got it for maybe $200 at the time. So it was my favorite steal, and now it's my makeup chair, and it's actually very comfortable. So over here, this is my dresser, our little dresser area, and I needed somewhere to put all my clothes. I have a lot of clothes. Definitely, you know, I love fashion, I love style, so I needed somewhere to put all my clothes and then swap them out too. And we have this giant dresser from CB2, maybe not giant, but the drawers are large, which I appreciate. So I have somewhere to put all my things. And on top of it, we have this mirror that's just a circle mirror. So that way I can check and look at myself while I'm getting ready in the morning. I have a jewelry box here with all my jewelry in it and just functional. I really needed a big one to keep all of my jewelry. And one of my favorite parts is that we installed this wall sconce, kind of like makeshift wall sconce situation, swag light. But originally we just had these Edison bulbs, and I decided to add these pleated shades for more of a Japandi type vibe, and I really love them. I feel like it really instantly warmed up the space and made it feel just like chill vibes. And then additionally, like I said, more personal touches. Here's another photo of Jamal and I in Paris from our Paris photo shoot for our anniversary last year. So loved that. This is my nightstand area. It's really convenient because this bed frame has nightstands built in. So that really solved our nightstand issue immediately. So I really love this bed frame. And I've been talking about Facebook Marketplace this whole time, but another Facebook Marketplace find, these sconces. As soon as we moved in, somebody was selling them for $80 for two. And they sold for like $200 each from West Elm. So that was like another brilliant Facebook Marketplace steal. And I really love them because they just bring in a more chic, like almost mid-century modern, I wouldn't say masculine. I think they're just like a perfect balance of both masculine and feminine with the shape and the metal. I really love them, and we have them Amazon connected, so I can say, Alexa, turn Breanna's lamp off.
Okay.
Oh, well, that failed. Alexa, turn Breanna's lamp off.
Okay.
There we go. And it cuts off, so it's nice to just kind of have that so I don't have to reach behind the bed or turn off any switches or anything when I go to bed. So love that. And we have, more of the functional pieces, just like a clock from the Amazon, what was the Echo? Yeah. Some books, some coffee table books. And I love decorating this little shelf, like this space in general, with coffee table books or vases or whatever I really like at the time. So it's also balanced out on this side with the other sconce and more sculptural pieces. This is from West Elm. We also have this faux plant in here. But also, let's talk about the bed itself and the bedding. The bedding is from Lulu in Georgia. Lulu in Georgia actually gets me. Like, I just love their bedding. I love the different textures and the warmth. It's very organic modern, so I feel like it really helped a lot in here. This is Jade, my cat. She enjoys hanging out here a lot during the day. She'll just kind of take herself to bed and sleep in here. So the lights will be off and she'll leave me out there to work. And we have this art print as well. This has been with me for a long time. I actually had it back before we even moved to New York or moved in together when I lived in DC. And it's a neutral piece that I bought from Home Goods. But it goes with everything. So we've taken it from different decor styles, from Scandi to where we are now with this more mid-century vibe, and it just works perfectly. Something we recently did was actually paint the frame brown before it was white, and it really just brought in the space again. So there's no need to change it out. It's perfect and it's large, so it like perfectly balances out this large bed. So another really cool feature of this bedroom is this industrial beam. It is a continuation of the beam in the living room, but just here in the bedroom now. But it's perfectly situated to have a bed underneath it, and it's kind of like a beautiful focal point up there. So we don't have to do too much in this bedroom because we have this nice structural piece. So we wanted to honor, like I said earlier, the industrial, like rustic integrity of the space. And I feel like this bed frame does a great example of that because it has the wood tone that perfectly reflects that. And it just pleases me once like I said again, it pleases me so much to see the symmetry with that. So it's one of my favorite things.
We met in DC, and so the reason we met in DC was I moved from Florida to DC to go to grad school. And then very quickly after I moved to DC, me and Breanna met on Tinder actually in 2018, 2019.
2019, yeah, the end of 2018.
And so then we were working, I was always in finance, I still worked. So Breanna was doing more consulting back in DC. Which
very DC jobs.
Wasn't very government consulting for design still, but it was not necessarily the projects that were she was very passionate about. So she was able to secure a job up here in New York, and me being in finance was very easy for me to just transfer from offices at the same company. And so that's how we made our way up to New York, and then a month later, it got shut down. Physically, it was definitely the biggest change, but also because we moved during COVID, it was a complete different space. It was like a true co-working space with a very long table, like a 12-foot table that we had. So we flipped it from having a big office to splitting it up into half office, half dining space there as well. And also that painting, although we painted in the bathroom, painting the living room was a little bit more tedious process in terms of
we did
the lime wash kind of technique that we
Right.
used, and just being a much bigger wall and surface area that we had to do. So I think the biggest change was that, because it fundamentally changed
Everything.
how the apartment felt in terms of half living, half work. Now it's more dominant by living, and just a small sliver of work, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just reached a point where I didn't want to come home and look at my office every day. Like the whole wall behind us, just this giant office space. So I figured, and especially right after we got married in June 2023. So
And I started going back full time. I started going back full time to the office. So
yeah, it just was a natural transition for us to adapt, and I wanted to be able to entertain more and like host, and we wanted to be able to have dinner after work and talk to each other at a proper dining table instead of sitting on the couch and like looking out, watching TV every night.
Yeah.
So it was a really great transition for us, and then we just kind of condensed our his and her space to a one desk setup. So it still worked out because Jamal actually is in the office a lot, and I work from home still a little bit, so we are not conflicting on our calls, like talking in meetings and things like that anymore. So yeah.
And it's just good to still have the flexibility to have a work from home space when I need it every now and then. But it's really Breanna's office, and so I'm just a guest when I work there.
Yeah.
So now we move into the bathroom, and this was fundamentally a big shift for us from what this bathroom used to be. And for us, once again, it was, how can we make it be functional, beautiful, while kind of elongating the space and making it feel much larger than really what it was. And so let's just start with the elephant in the room. Yes, it is this nice dark brown. Depending on the light, it might have a little red wine, purplish hue to it.
I thought you were going to say the elephant in the room is this giant stainless steel
Well,
tub.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how many bathrooms painted floor to ceiling in New York, so I wanted to start there. Breanna picked out a few different. We have a hardware store here in the neighborhood, so she picked out a few different browns. I don't know why did you choose brown as a base anyway?
Yeah, I just saw a lot of inspiration with dark brown. I actually just really wanted to try it. I was scared too, because it is a bathroom. But after we bought this tan cabinet over here, it was so light that I felt like if we did another tan or something like neutral, it would just drown out in this space. And then there's not enough contrast. So the brown really worked out. And I'm really inspired by, I think Lone Fox Home used brown a lot in his work. And I think it's very similar brown actually, but there was a lot of Pinterest mid-century modern like bathroom inspo that are using dark brown. I feel like it's coming back, and especially the color drench. I really wanted to try drenching a space in color, and since the bathroom is the smallest space in the house, it's perfect to have the bathroom be the place to experiment with, and it all worked out like thank God.
It worked out great. When we were drenching the bathroom, we were nervous because we painted like each wall like one per day. To be like, do we like that wall that color? Do we like that wall that color? Do we take the initial ceiling level there? Okay, we like it. Let's take it all the way up, to the very top. And it really did elongate the space. And so actually the history here, once again, they kind of carried in the mahogany from the kitchen. All the doors are that same color. They carried in the stainless steel tubs and all the different accents that are now kind of covered up, but were originally there. So they kind of kept that flow, and so we couldn't really do much about this tub. And we get comments all the time that this is probably one of the largest tubs in a New York City apartment that we see. So we do use it every now and then. It's very large, so it takes a long time to fill.
Yeah.
But when it does, it's been great. But to the walls itself, we used to have open shelving all throughout. Similar to the kitchen, but kind of just more stainless steel open shelving all throughout these walls. And although that was good, it just kind of made it for a lot of clutter. I mean, when you're in a bathroom, you have a lot of stuff. You have a lot of towels, you have a lot of products. And so we really wanted to condense that space. So we were able to put it into these cabinets to the right over there, and then kind of really make this a nice, really beautiful space there. So Breanna added a lot of different golds, and we added these IKEA sconces that we actually hacked because they use a very special. They're actually were supposed to be hardwired into like your wiring in the wall itself, but Breanna was able to find these rechargeable light bulbs
Yep.
that we use, and so we just charge them up every now and then whenever we need them. And then she added a lot of the gold touches for the towel. Moving into this side of the wall, the vanity side of it with the his and her sinks, we really got some inspiration when we traveled to the West Coast late last year. So we stayed in LA at a nice hotel, and they had really provided the inspiration for a bathroom that we really wanted, you know, within our own space. We chose various colors in them, but took a lot of their techniques and style inspirations. And so the kitchen backsplash peel and stick was a great practice for doing this whole entire wall here as well. Yeah. So renter friendly hack. This is all peel and stick tile that we use that Breanna was able to source from Amazon. The mirror was already here, so that was original. This was from when they originally, the marble countertop was when they originally put it in back in 2003. So we carried the paint all the way over, but really wanted to make this wall an accent wall with the, with the green peel and stick tile. And then one of Breanna's best hacks that she did here was she added this curtain. Yeah, she can go ahead and discuss more of it.
Yeah, so this space, like, it was just very cold when we first moved in. There just wasn't any cozy vibe about it. Even the stainless steel in here kind of felt, what's the word? Like surgical. like a hospital. Like, it just wasn't giving the same vibe that it did outside, because it was just like white walls everywhere and steel and just coldness. That was the vibe I got in the bathroom. Yeah, so we had some work to do. So I feel like painting the entire space really helped. And then this peel and stick hack really took this project to the next level. But also, as I don't think I mentioned this, there isn't any storage in this bathroom. Like, Jamal mentioned they had open shelving, but that was it. So we would just have our stuff out on the open shelving, and just really didn't look good. I was embarrassed to show people my bathroom back then. But the biggest hack was I just kind of came up with this idea of a sink skirt here to hide all of the stuff that we have underneath the cabinet. Our cat's litter box is under here. You would never know. And I bought some cafe curtains from Amazon. Put some Velcro on one side of the curtain, and then put Velcro on the underneath of the sink, snapped it together, and there you go. We have a sink skirt. So it's one of my favorite hacks that we've done, because it was really cheap to do, but also I should have did it a long time ago, because I hated looking at my cat's litter box and everything underneath there. So all the cleaning supplies, whatever we have. So it's really great. And then this is probably the furthest non-renter friendly thing we've done. We swapped out our faucets to a brass, just because it looked better, but also our faucets didn't even match. Like, they didn't care.
Yeah, New York landlord special.
So we were like, you know what? Because we swapped out all the hardware in here to brass. Before it was all silver, as I mentioned. So the toilet paper holder, the towel racks, besides like the stuff that's on the door, we can't really take that out. But everything that we could possibly swap, we swapped. So it really helped to be consistent. And I feel like it just took this to the whole next level. These were really affordable. I think I bought them for like $60 or $70 for a pack of 2 on Amazon, and it made such a big difference in here. Now I feel like I'm in a luxury hotel. Like, now I feel like we're in some boutique hotel somewhere, and I don't feel like I'm just in my rental apartment. Like, I just love making the space feel special. And adding to the little special decorative vibes, so I added these little lotion and hand soap holders. Very important because, well, not important, but I don't know, it just looks nice to be consistent. Adding in the brass, yeah. The theme of
not having like a lotion bottle out there, a very soap bottle out there. Just kept it really clean, minimal.
Yeah.
It just kind of kept it aesthetic, and once again, it's functional.
Right, and then when you go to a nice hotel, they typically have nice hand soaps, nice dispenser. So we wanted to keep that same vibe. Additionally, I just added this vase, also taken from the flea market, and a faux plant up here just to add some depth. And
Faux because there's no sunlight here.
Yeah, it is a dark bathroom. And then I have this candle here, and then we have a bunch of matches. I'm sure a lot of people in New York do this, but from New York City restaurants that we've been to. So they're kind of fancy, and I've added a little tray for them next to the candle. It just has a nice, cozy, luxurious vibe to once again bring in the hotel like aspect that we were going for. Over here on this side, I also decorated the shelf by, well, something I forgot to even talk about. Throughout this entire apartment, we also swapped out all of the plug like frames. So these are also relatively affordable. They are brass, and I feel like it made a huge difference too in giving me like that luxury hotel vibe that we were talking about earlier. Massive difference. So really loved that combo, like just swapping out the materials quickly. And then I added this little lamp once again from Amazon. There's the same one out there in the living room, but it's like a
Lighter color?
Yeah, it's a lighter color. I don't even know what type of wood that one might be, but this one's darker, and yeah, it just makes it feel so cozy in here. And then this towel holder with a nice little green towel, and we have this little frame as well.
Still life, yeah.
Kind of interestingly like reflects the vase over there that's also brown. It's kind of like a still life of what we have in here. So it's cool. And something else that I did to make the space feel, I don't know, just a bit more luxurious, I was at a small little drink table. This drink table is like a faux marble situation, but it just really brings in the industrial stainless steel tub. Like I could not for the life of me figure out how to bring in this steel tub when we changed everything to brass. Like how do I make it make sense? But I feel like it makes it make sense a little bit more. So there's like a lot of gray accents in here and beige, and it kind of helps. It's also very sculptural, so it brought in more of a modern feel to a bathroom that kind of is not really that modern feeling.
No, yeah, it definitely has been a aesthetic shift from that original photo there as well. There's only so much we can do in terms of like the countertops and everything else there as well but I think one aspect too is like we did a lot of work in the bathroom, and we're just gonna undo it whenever our time comes leaving here. Right, we're just gonna paint it back white, but take the peel and stick off there because it's all paint's very affordable. You know, it's more affordable than other things. There, peel and stick, you can just clean the wall and paint it back. So I think it just wasn't not being scared to kind of dive into some renter activities to kind of make your space feel more at home. Just feel more love and just give the space some love essentially there as well. And so I think it's a good transition to these big cabinets here as well. So this was also very tricky because this is probably the shortest ceiling that we do have in the apartment itself. I think this actually carries the air vents over to the living room and does all that. So there's some functional reason why the ceiling here is lower. But these are from IKEA. Breanna was able to find these, except they come very bare bone, and then you have to do some hacking yourself with them to really make them not look like a Amazon locker essentially. And so we were able to add these black and brass or black and gold handles because it doesn't come with handles. And then we added some legs on the bottom just to make it feel like a true cabinet versus a locker. And this actually, all the stuff we had on the outside that was out for the whole world to see now gets hidden. It does make for a tight fit when it comes to kind of the shower and everything there, but for us, we can still obviously use the toilet, use the shower, having all of our stuff concealed. And so that was a big value add because this tub does take up so much space, unnecessary space, but it takes so much space.
Yeah, and then there's all I'm a girl. I have a lot of beauty products, a lot of hair products, depending on what my hairstyle is that day. So I'm so glad we can hide them now into these cabinets. And then additionally, these were, like what Jamal said, it was an IKEA hack. These are two separate cabinets. Kind of looks like the same, but we just kind of put them next to each other. And they're tall and narrow, so we have so much storage inside. And then we have these handles that we swapped out or just added into because they didn't have any handles. Jamal said it looks like an Amazon locker when we first got it. He didn't trust the vision. And then I was like, let's see what the
There was no
like.
handles, there was no legs. It was very... I was like, are we going back to that hospital-ish vibe? And then we added just a few small touches, and now it looks great. It's kind of, there's another small towel holder on that side for washcloths and stuff. And because, so like one thing about the apartment too, it is a very old building and it slopes from front to back. So there's like a gradient. And so the floor in here isn't exactly level. So when you have a nice rug like this, having the legs on it, we're able to kind of stuff some part of the rug there and still have a bath mat. So when you come out, you're not getting the tile all soaking wet there as well. So kind of was just, once again, working with the current infrastructure of the home, because we can't obviously level it ourselves. So how can we do some things to make it work for us? And then really the last part here is this shelving here. The shelf was really... I'm gonna call attention to it, but it really was to take attention away from having that vacuum cleaner there because we had no other place to put it. So unless someone calls it out, you truly don't notice it. And that's really just for, Breanna has it with another photo, but it's really for like, you know, toilet paper, toiletries, just kind of hide some smaller things that you don't really want, you know, guests to see on a daily basis there as well. And so we also have another echo device in here just to make it, adding music with the new environment that we created really just makes it an immersive experience in here because I don't know if the acoustics are picking up, but it gets pretty cool here when you're playing music. You don't need it to be very loud because it's such a small space and everything kind of echoes back and forth into your ears itself. So yeah, I think this was our second biggest, in my opinion. It was probably the most manual work because it was such a small confined space. I say it was like our second biggest thing because it was functioning as a bathroom before. It's still a bathroom now. The living room space was, you know, split into two different type of use cases, and so this was just another good one that we built here as well. And then Breanna every year has another idea on how she wants to change something else. So
but we've been talking about doing this one for such a long time, and I'm so glad we finally got it over with because it just made the space feel so much better. Now I actually like being in here. Before, you know, when you don't really like a space, like, oh, I guess like I have to stay in here, do my hair, and you know. But now I'm like, I feel like I'm in a luxury spa. Like I'm getting to really enjoy the space. Just being inspired by the hotel vibes that we wanted. I feel like we really accomplished it. I brought in a landscape photo over here to kind of just get us thinking about somewhere other than here. Maybe we're in the Parisian countryside, who knows? And then I also have these bulbs that still give me that same vibe. Like I feel like I'm in a boutique Parisian hotel right now. So shout out to Soho Warehouse, where we stayed in LA, that kind of brought along this journey of us really getting serious about redoing our bathroom. But all of the renter friendly hacks that we did in here, I'm very impressed with the peel and stick tile the most. It just completely transformed the space, and it doesn't feel like we are in a rental bathroom. It feels like we own this place and we changed out the backsplash for the bathroom. So I highly recommend it to anybody that wants to take a shot at it because it really transformed it.
Home to me means really where my wife is, and having a very safe space for her and for us and together. That's what really home means. For us, that means home is here. But you know, when we travel or we go see our parents, that's also home as well, right? So home is where, for me, is where the closest people are in my life at that moment are in proximity to me. I make sure having a safe and secure spot for everybody there, so we can, you know, be blessed enough to see the next day and do what we've been put on this earth to do. That's what really home means for me.
Home to me is a place that I can thrive. I love like a creative space, a space that inspires me. Also a space where I found community, and I definitely feel like I found that here in New York. So home is definitely a place where I feel like I'm thriving in all aspects, and I want to make it feel that way. And we are thriving in all aspects, really.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.